Hi, everyone.
Hi everyone.
You okay?
Yes, I didn't realise we started.
Yes, but there's always a little bit of a lag when Facebook catches up. So we usually say Happy Friday. Don't- Why are you looking at me like that?
You say you hope you're having a good Friday, and now you have to say I hope you're having a good Friday.
For those of you who are celebrating Good Friday, and for those of you that were celebrating Passover yesterday, we hope you had a nice Passover. Happy Passover.
You would say Happy Passover
Yes.
because they got passed over. They didn't get the proverbial X on the door.
Well, I know that you say Happy Passover.
Okay, well, Happy Passover. And are we celebrating Good Friday? I don't see any signs of hot cross buns anywhere.
Well, are you expecting to go out to get hot
No,
cross
I
buns?
wouldn't want to do
Yeah,
that.
I'm just gonna have a quick look here to make sure this is working. What about your? Didn't you make hot cross buns one year? I
I
seem to
did
remember
one year,
that.
but they were very short of the mark in terms of what I would expect from a hot cross bun.
Really?
Yeah,
Hang on, sorry.
they were hard and crusty, and I don't know. I think I got there's I don't know what is there is some kind of spice that you use that I don't know what it is
I've never made hot cross buns.
that makes a hot cross bun tasty.
Well, anyway, we're not having hot cross buns, and you're gonna be okay.
Okay.
So we were gonna talk today about worry.
Yes, worry.
Because that in the conversations that I've had this past week, that has definitely been one of the themes that's been coming up where people are worrying quite a bit. They might be worrying about themselves, worrying about their health, worrying about family members, worrying about finances. So there just seems to have been a lot of conversations about worry.
Yes, I would say that's true. And I feel like I have been having internal conversations about worry, worrying about worry,
You're worrying?
or reflecting on worry.
You're feeling worried? More
No,
worried
but
than
I think
usual?
because of the conversations that I've been having, that it's so prevalent that I've been thinking a lot about worry and what it means. And and kind of, I guess, not that I want to advocate there being a process or a technique. How do you get out of worry? Which is something that's kind of been on my mind. And as much as I can gather for myself, and I still feel like I need to have an insight about it, it's finding a way to be in the moment because it seems very apparent to me, and I'm sure maybe I'm just the dunce of the class here, but it seems to be a case of finding a way to be vulnerable or finding a way to be comfortable in the unknown, should I say. And I think it's that discomfort with the unknown that sort of gets the machinery of worry primed and moving forward. And so it seemed that the pathway out of that is to be not only be comfortably unknown, but being comfortable in the unknown is, in a sense, it's about finding a way to be present in the moment. And that presence in the moment is about disengaging or getting off that train of thought that wants to take you to worry, trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with this unknown. Does that make does that make sense?
Well, could we slow it down a little bit and
Yeah,
let me see
yeah,
if I can catch up because that
yeah.
was an awful lot. So, in terms of worry, is this what you're saying? Is that, from my perspective, what happens is people have an anxious thought that they identify with, and they don't like the feeling of anxiety. And one of the habitual ways that people tend to deal with anxiety is to then think about what they're anxious about, and that becomes their worry. And so they use their mental energy to try and soothe themselves, but they end up actually making themselves more worried and anxious.
Yes. Yeah, what I'm saying is, and I put myself in that category too, there is a misunderstanding about how we find ourselves catapulted into the unknown. And it seems, without understanding, that the best way forward is just to try and like spend a lot of time trying to figure out how we can avoid all the pitfalls that we might conjure up about this unknown. So that's what worry looks like to me. And I've noticed for myself, and I've heard this from other people, and I still can't find a way to articulate it in a way that's satisfactory. But there is something about finding a way to be in the present that somehow disengages me from any negative future fantasy that I want to get on board in terms of trying to figure out the unknown, which is kind of what I do when I'm faced with the unknown, I get into the negative future fantasy, imagining all the possible pitfalls and all the ways because this can go horribly wrong, and it's just worry begets more worry.
Mm-hmm.
There's this an exponential curve that gets really it gets really defined in terms of where I can go with that. But there's something about getting off that train of thought that for me is about being in the moment. But I haven't had enough of an insight for me to really have the clarity that I want to yet, because I still worry.
I think most of us can recognize that we worry some of the time. Some perhaps worry more than others. But in general, worry is the same thing whether we do it a little or whether we do it a lot. It's simply, as you're saying, a way that we try to deal with our fear. And one of the fears you're talking about is the fear of the unknown. So I'm guessing that's something that you worry about.
Well, I think all fear is a fear of the unknown.
Okay.
It's like, this is an unknown situation for me. What's going to happen?
So behind all fear is unknown?
That's what I'm postulating. That's what's occurring to me this week. Okay. In particular, on the back of all the conversations that I've had about this very issue, it seems like there's a very general fear around the unknown, and that can come in all shapes and sizes. And to a greater or lesser degree, that's how that machinery gets primed and gets up and running. That's kind of what I feel like I'm noticing, but what I'm exploring for myself too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess whether or not it's the unknown or not, we can just stick with worry, and that it's fear-based, right?
Yes.
And that what I hear you saying is that what you find helpful is if you come back into the present moment, and when you're in the present moment, you can't actually be thinking about the future, and that's what's really helpful to you.
Can I say something else?
Yes.
So I've noticed. Well, I noticed for myself that worry is not even on the radar. It could, I could be worrying without even really being conscious of it. And it's not until that worry gets to a point of extremity that then I somehow fall back into the present just by default, because it's kind of get so scared by my thinking that I kind of reach a ceiling where the only place left for me to go is to find my way back to the present. I kind of feel like that's almost in the design. Just thinking about the times in the past where I've really indulged in worry and it's got so painful that there gets a point where there's kind of really nowhere else to go. So now I'm kind of like feeling like I see the indicators a little bit quicker, not when it gets to an extreme situation, but I see it a little earlier. And then that thought occurs to me, I've got to somehow maybe look in the direction of being in the present as a way to deal with that, that state of mind, if you like. My state of mind has gone so far south that I'm noticing it much quicker now.
That's great. And that's what I would say is really helpful for all of us to remember, is that when we're worrying, we have the natural feedback of our emotions where we feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good for us. And that's kind of the wake-up call to let us know that we're caught up in our conceptualizations that aren't looking very good to us in the moment. And that's the reminder, as you're saying, that we can come back into the present moment. And when you say come back into the present moment, like people could think, I am in the present moment. I'm worrying in the present moment. I am here. But I think what you're pointing to is that when we're saying come back into the present moment, we're really meaning come out of your head, come out of your conceptual mind, and come back into the experience of being here in this moment now and dropping into what is. And that doesn't mean you're going to drop into a really amazing feeling as soon as you become present, but what you can become present to is simply what is, and what is manageable, whether it's pain on the emotional level, whether it's pain on the physical level. If we're dealing with that in the present moment, becomes very manageable. And for me, I've noticed this especially in terms of physical pain. If I've been in physical pain and then I start really thinking about the physical pain and worrying about the physical pain, it becomes really hard to navigate, and I get really scared, or I have been scared in the past. But if I can just be with the experience in the moment and just stay there, it has been so much easier to manage and simply be with it and not get freaked out by it. And I think it's the same for all experience, right? You look worried right now.
No, no, this is a really interesting conversation because I think, and I still, I'm sorry, I can't help myself reflecting on, I guess there's part of me that, my intellectual curiosity is looking for a technique, which we know is going in the wrong direction. But
And why is that going in the wrong direction?
because I feel that's just like engaging the machinery
Right.
that really is the problem in the first place. It's about being able to disengage from the machinery. And for me, it's just I think that the beginning of that process for me to stabilize is just trusting in my innate design. I'm designed that way. I'm designed to stabilize. I'm designed to sort of prosper in terms of my humanity, if you like. It's set up in such a way that we'll always be looking for balance and harmony on some level. So I just have to trust in the innate design, and that helps me to sort of let go of the controls because it's all about control. I'm desperately trying to control the situation with my mind because that's kind of how I'm programmed, or I program myself, and that's what worry looks like to me. I'm trying to desperately control the situation, and there's something about letting go of the controls, which for me is to trust in my innate design. That in the same way that my arm, if it gets cut, the body knows how to heal itself. Why wouldn't my psychology be subject to the same principles? And that's part of, for me, that's what's helpful. Is I just let go. I don't know. It's just too painful to engage in this condition of worry and anxiety. When I know there's something greater at play that I can look to, or at least move in that direction.
And I think what makes it hard for people to let go is they're scared of their experience. And so that's really what I'm pointing to, is that whatever experience you're scared of, worry is not the answer to it. As we all know, common sense lets us know that it doesn't make us feel any better. But we still go there because people, myself included at times, get scared of my experience. And so I think that, like you're saying, is the way to go to get out of it, to get into my head and to try and figure things out that way. But ultimately, what we're pointing to is that experience is just experience. There's nothing to be scared of. We might not like the experience, but we are safe in the present moment, whatever our experience is. And the more we see that, the more we see that all of who we are is not our experience. Experience is just a part of who we are. Then it's so much easier for that level to shrink down so we can be with whatever experience we're having and actually access what you're pointing to, the deeper resources that are available to each one of us in the present moment. And when we're in our head thinking about 10 minutes from now, 5 days from now, 2 months from now, we're not connected with the inner resource for the answers in that moment. That's not the present moment. But when we're here and now, we have exactly what we need to handle this moment in time if we're willing to let ourselves drop into that experience and get connected with who we are beyond our personal mind, to that deeper level of the unifying source that is the source for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess when I find my way back to the present moment, which I will do without me having without me even having to, I have no control over that. I will just fall back into that presence. That's where my divinity is, and that if I'm in my mind, that's me just getting caught up in the illusion of thought, and I think that's really what's at play. Is I come back into my divinity, and that's where I settle, and that's where I feel comfortable, and that's where I'll get new thoughts, new ideas. That's where innovation comes from. But if I'm just like, flogging the wheels and the machinery of my worry, that's just me just buying into the illusion. That's what's present for me, anyway.
That's great. Well, we hope this conversation about worry has been helpful to you, and ultimately, we're not making anyone wrong for worrying, because we do it too at times. But the more that we see what we're doing and recognize that it's taking us in a direction that just creates more suffering, the easier it is to leave it alone, to not use our mental energy in that way. And as Angus just said, it helps us come back to being present, to that oneness of who we all are, what you're calling your divinity. And ultimately, that is, on the inner level, the only place that safety resides. But it's a beautiful space to look toward, and it's a powerful and profound experience that helps us to navigate this human world so much more easily and gracefully, and oftentimes in more lighthearted ways. So we're sending you lots of love.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, yes,
One
yes.
more thing, because a client said to me this the other day. I thought it was brilliant, and we were talking about this very thing, and he was talking about. We were making a comparison between the hard drive and how when you run all these programs, and eventually the computer is running out of RAM, and it's overstretched in its capacity to deal with all these programs that are running, and then like the fan comes on. It's almost like, for me, I get to such an extreme place with my worry. At some point, hopefully, I start to hear the fan. And it's kind of like, that's the reminder that I need to just slow the whole thing down. And I'm kind of going in the wrong direction. So it's kind of, I guess that's another thing that I think is important to say. You look for the indicators and you become aware. Again, you become aware, you develop an awareness around your state of mind. That seems pivotal.
Yeah, well, what the human indicator is our feeling state. The feeling state doesn't ever lie to us, and it's very easy to check in with. And if we're feeling stressed or anxious, then we know we're using our mental energy in a way that is creating that experience.
Well, I like my feelings as a fan.
Okay. You can make a t-shirt.
Okay.
All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Sending you lots of love.
Lots of
Bye.
love. Bye.